Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster.
GM Farcaster. I am not Nanish Prof, and this is not
I'm not
Adrian.
So we're taking over the show today.
Yes, we're doing a nice little good old-fashioned takeover show while Nanish Prof and Adrian are on vacation. So if you're here for them, I would suggest that you put down your computer right now and maybe go outside. This is not going to be your regular GM Farcaster.
No, it won't.
Maybe that's a reason to stick around, though.
Oh yeah, maybe. You can drop any suggestions. We are open to them. We might not be able to execute, but we'll do our best.
And how are you doing this morning, Naomi?
I'm good. It's not morning for me actually. It's afternoon. Because I'm
true.
Europe poor.
I totally forgot that.
We always lose a lot of time by the time you guys get up. We're like halfway done. But yeah.
Well, it's always GM somewhere in the universe, right? And so GM Farcaster still works.
Yes, and I always explain it with we are always rising, so it doesn't matter. GM is
exactly.
like a mindset.
GM is a way of life. GM is not just your everyday waking up. Yeah.
It's like YOLO, but shorter.
All right. So yeah. I guess we're gonna take this episode just gonna be a little bit different. I figured if I do a terrible enough job, they'll never invite me back. And so what I'm gonna do is just try to show as many things as possible, and then we'll see how it goes. So this is the sellout GM Farcaster. We'll see what it looks like. For instance, here I have my humankind candle. It's actually not lit. It just unlit itself. But there we go. My Humankind Candle by Samantha on Farcaster. If you don't have one of these, it's amazing. She actually delivered it to me yesterday at the pub. And yeah, nice little, this is her scentless candle, which I was asking for. So if you haven't got a Humankind Candle, you should definitely get one.
Oh, and then I should show something too. Because look at this, oh gosh, you can't really see it. Pretty paper art that I got from Christy. It's like a flower bouquet, but it's made of paper. So yeah,
that is actually awesome. It's hard to see with your virtual background though. You should share that link.
Wait, I'm just gonna turn off the virtual background so everybody can see the chaos in the back.
Wait, before you do, what is your virtual background?
Oh, it's actually Angry Kitty. So if I move like this, you can see she scrambled all the papers, and that's how I feel all the time. Like I just want to tear it all apart, and then I realize I need a job. So yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem with jobs, is that they frown upon tearing everything down.
So yeah, it's like this. Now you can see it probably.
Nice. And this is also a Farcaster creator?
Yes, but I don't know if she made it herself, but she sent it all the way to me with a postcard, so I was very happy.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Way to be. And shout out to the postcards channel.
Yes, send postcards to your friends.
Aren't you going to ask about my background?
Of course. So tell me about it.
Well, this happens to be another stealth shill. This is from Farcaster creator Wanderloots. And he's actually an interesting person. He quit his job as a lawyer because he burnt out. And he takes these lovely photos. He just got back from Banff. And then he also helps people learn how to use AI on YouTube. So if you haven't checked out his YouTube page, has some pretty good clips as well. So there's my stealth shell, and look, I get a lovely background out of it too.
Yeah, I think we should have taken some sponsorships on for our takeover. Like, so we could just be like one of those channels, like, hey, do you want to buy this thing? Call this number.
YOLO, we're going for it. But anyways,
okay.
Should we get into some actual news? Yeah, some actual Farcaster news. All right, let's check it out. What do we got here? This is a link that you shared, Zach XBT. You wanna tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to, well, share about Zach XBT. I mean, he was just sharing a video of some of the victims of a scammer called Kevin, which my brother is also called, but he's not the scammer in question. And he was being recorded as he was doing this scamming. He was running a fake security safety safeguard bot in Telegram, which everybody knows those kind of bots that are being annoying when you join channels. But yeah, I just found it interesting that it's people are being exposed. And I think the one thing this relates to is that Zach has been doing this work for many, many years, and I think mostly without actually getting paid for it. So yeah,
But I
and
think
I
he has
think
got
there's a
paid recently. Although I wouldn't
recently, yes. But yeah, so
he
I just think it's
probably
like we need more of them, I guess, more Zachs in this world. So if you feel like you're up for the task, please rise to it.
yes. Yeah, I agree. I do think we need more Zacks in this world because it's scary out there in the crypto space. It's like the Wild West, except way more people are trying to scam you.
Yeah, it's pretty true.
All
I mean,
right.
fortunately, I'm poor, Euro poor, so I'm not a scammer target. Only if an American wants to move to Europe for some weird reason, I could be a target. But yeah,
It's kind of scary because you're hearing about people getting like kidnapped, like the Telegram co-founder and stuff getting kidnapped for their crypto. It's just
yeah.
like,
Also in France, the Ledger founder,
yeah.
he got kidnapped. Now he's
So
back apparently, but he needs medical attention. So yeah, don't get kidnapped, people.
more money, more problems. I just
Exactly.
realized that I have a bright sun shining on me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly close this. Such a newbie streamer move.
Yeah,
All right.
we don't have
Ne-
sun here, so it's not a problem.
yeah, that's not the problem. Exactly. Great place for streaming. All right, what about this one? It's something from
So
BF.
yes, I didn't actually know BF, but he popped up on my feed, and this was something I found very relatable because he was, of course, talking about Twitter like 18 years ago. I think you could also probably mention Facebook like 15 years ago or whatever. They all had this kind of wholesome, innocent vibe where we were just nudging friends or no, poking, that's how it was called.
Yeah.
Poking friends, and we were posting silly little pictures when we were in our emo phase or whatever. Like, life sucks. Okay. And then it all turned into a cesspool of disinformation. And yeah, I think it's just good to think about that sometimes, and to think about how maybe we make sure that FC doesn't have this, right?
Have you heard of
And
the term enshittification?
of course, it's by Cory Doctorow.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
yeah,
So I feel like it's
yeah,
playing out all over the place. Basically, if you don't know, for those in the audience, don't know what enshittification is, it's this idea that like these for-profit, like this kind of profit motive, it kind of inevitably leads to a good product turning bad because capitalism is really great at creating amazing things like Facebook and Twitter and all these like groundbreaking things, but that it doesn't know when to stop. It just continues to keep going to start extracting value because every year they've got to be making their 10% or more if they're VC backed, right? And so I think Facebook was kind of victim to this, Twitter's kind of victim to this. Farcaster, can we avoid it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Well, let's hope so. I mean, we're on a GM Farcaster show. There's at least some cautious optimism from me.
yeah, for sure. I mean, and I don't know. For now, maybe there's not so much incentive to enshittify the platform because it's not like it
It's
doesn't
not
run
good
on
yet.
the advertising model, which I think was the reason this happened on a lot of these other social networks
Well, some
because
people
they
would
were
say that things like Moxie and Degen are enshittifying the platform,
yeah,
but at the same time, it's just like they're so like the platform is so small to be enshittified. So I feel like we're just not quite there yet. I feel like those are just like, let's say, figuring out where the network is going, kind of thing.
yeah, we're still too small for enshittification problems. That's
Agreed. More money, more
yeah,
problems. More users, more problems. I feel
more
like Biggie
problems.
Small said that. Yeah.
Small's the way.
All right, back to the shilling. let's get less serious. Yesterday, I released something for anyone who's working on their crypto taxes, and it is just an income tax calculator. It's free, which is nice, fast, free, flexible. I will give you the alpha on this. We released it 2 years ago because people at Bankless Now like got a huge tax bill because they were like, oh, I earned all this bank and now I have to pay taxes. Oh my god! And the token price went from here to here, so now I have to like give away way more of these tokens. So that's why we built it. And then this year, I just added every token, incoming and outgoing, and gas expenses. And so the nice thing about this little product, Taxman at ducketbcard.io, is that you can do your taxes and it will automatically convert to your fiat, and then you can get a CSV and you can do whatever you want with that. If you don't have a lot of transactions and you don't want to spend like $250 on a crypto tax calculator, this is probably a good alternative for you. Good free alternative.
Yes, I just never sell, so I can avoid doing my taxes on crypto.
Actually,
I think it's not a great strategy, but yeah, I think even if you're swapping and here it's like a taxable event. I think so. We were wondering about that. Like, if you go from Ethereum Optimism to Ether mainnet, is this a taxable event? Does this reset the like 1 year holding period? It's like, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, in Canada, if you get an airdrop, it's considered income.
Yeah, I think
you have to pay on airdrops. Anytime you're getting your degen tips, that's income. So even before you sell it, which means that like usually whenever I get anything, I sell like 25% right away to pay for taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm getting everyone stressed out. So let's go to a slightly, I mean, I thought this would be like a slightly like let's see, chiller vibe show. I see that it's a losing my idealism post, and maybe we're gonna get into
it's humorism. No, I mean, so yeah, this was by me since we're shelling ourselves, and I'm just gonna read this for people who might just listen. I've seen this sentiment on the timeline for a few weeks, and I'm always battling with not losing my idealism in crypto anyway. And especially when it just seems we're running after faster, bigger, better, and we never ask why and what kind of future do we even want. And the trigger for me to write that was I was at an AI agent event, and I asked the panelists like if they had any positive vision for humans online, because they were all talking about how these billions of AI agents are going to run on the web. And yeah, and they were just blanking. They really had no answer. So then I was like, okay, well, this is just another one of those things. I mean, it's also now everybody is cheering for certain political figures, and I'm not all convinced that they're going to be great. I mean, maybe for your backs in the short term. And yeah, so I was just writing this as a sort of like, yeah, catharsis. Get it out. I mean, I haven't lost it yet. I'm still here because I believe that we can build better, and maybe we can build an alternative to the existing system instead of joining and becoming part of the state mafia. But yeah, I think this is something that most people don't talk about in crypto, that it's really hard. And maybe this relates back to Zach as well, because he said integrity doesn't really pay. And I think I've seen that too many times to, yeah, still believe that in a sense.
It's true. And I think like as well, I mean, so I go through waves of losing and regaining my idealism. I call it my innocence, but I think it's kind of similar, right? Like I want to build it in the way that I want to build it. I want to like do the thing that I want to do. And it can be really hard, right? Because like the people who are succeeding, and if you're on my YouTube feed, all this Machiavelli stuff came up recently, like the history and stuff like that. And just like, basically, Machiavelli said that if you're an idealist, you will lose. You should like have that in mind, but you should act or know how these like rule breakers or rule benders will work. So it can be tough. And it's one of the reasons I actually really like Farcaster, is because at least there are other people who are idealists in the space. Yeah. You know, they're building not just for their bags, but because they believe that they can make a better world.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the people never read Machiavelli. Because I think he also said, if you can escape state power, you should. So, I mean, he didn't say become the despotic ruler yourself. So, yeah. But yeah, can't expect that from people on Twitter to read their sources.
Yeah. Expecting people to read? Not in this day and age. Now AI reads for them.
Yeah. It also makes decisions for them.
All right.
Okay.
So this from V back again to the Farcaster news. So this is actually pretty useful. They're making their Warpcast spam dataset public. Over 400,000 accounts have been processed by our model, which determines the accounts that are most likely to generate inauthentic content or unwanted notifications. And this is really great for any developer who's building on the Farcaster network, because I don't know if you've noticed, if you go on to other other clients, they do exist, right? Sometimes there's way more spammy users. There's way more. You'll see there's more notifications and engagement, but just like bots auto liking your posts and that kind of thing. So this gives developers another tool in their toolbox to actually build other clients, which I think is pretty great, especially considering how difficult it is to get a good spam model using using the machine learning algorithm that they're doing, right? Like, it's a professional spam filter for anyone who's using Warpcast FIDs. That's pretty cool. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
Any
I think
comments
so.
on that?
Nothing smarter than you just said, so
All right.
let's just leave it at that.
Well, so here's some alpha. I think it's some alpha. So yesterday, Dan Romero posted, "If you're swapping greater than 3 days per week, reply to this cast." Usually he does that when he's looking for feature input. And so, I mean, does this mean that Warpcast is going to have native swaps in it soon?
Who knows?
How do you feel about
Maybe
it? Do you use...
everybody will have a token, and then if you click on their profile pic, you're just gonna swap with theirs. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it could be, right? It kind of makes sense, because that's ultimately what all of these social platforms want. I mean, there was like speculation back in the day when Elon bought Twitter that he wanted to somehow combine it with PayPal and then get the payments in, because people are already verified on there and stuff like that. So, I mean, it makes sense. And people mint NFTs. People mint NFTs in feed. Why wouldn't they swap in the feed?
Yeah, exactly. And they had those token links, which I feel like are a building block towards this, right? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think as well, if you look at the alpha, not the alpha, but the narrative that Dan recently asked people to push on Twitter, which was go to Farcaster to make money and then make friends too. Which, like, I know I don't really feel so great about that narrative either. But if you put that with the token links
to get
and
wrecked.
this, exactly, yeah.
That's what comes after this stage.
But
when there's not so much money left.
If you're only buying tokens from, like, if you're getting a token link from someone you trust, like Naomi, if you posted a token link and you're like, hey, get this thing, and I click on it and I can immediately swap, and Warpcast is probably gonna take a fee. But am I gonna feel rugged if something happens to that token? Maybe, but it's less likely to happen than some random person on Twitter, because hopefully there's the social graph to help you. I think that's probably the argument they would make. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this kind of like make money on Farcaster framing. Yeah. But I do think that meme coin mania is something that Merkle Manufactory is gonna lean into.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is if you put the monetary incentive, usually there's like the crowding out effect, right? You put like money onto something that people used to do intrinsically, and you kind of ruin it. So
yes,
but I mean, I guess these people would have never joined Farcaster in the first place, so maybe.
Yeah, so it's funny too, because they're basically trying to vampire attack crypto Twitter, right? Like they want to get crypto Twitter people here, and I'm kind of like, they can stay there, right? Like that's fine. Let's get different people here.
I actually like what we had. No, don't ruin it. Yeah, sure.
So I don't want to get into the glory days thinking, but yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a Faristocracy.
Yeah,
which Adrian is part of, I've heard, but she denies it. Which is
Adrian is definitely Faristocracy, and I think she told me that the other day, that if you're not part of the Faristocracy, it completely defines your self-worth. That's what she said, right?
Yeah. Did she also say we should eat cake? Probably, right?
Yes, definitely. She said we should. No, she said the others should eat cake.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll eat cake.
All right. Coming up in a couple of hours is a new revealing of a membership structure at a DAO that I'm part of. It used to be called Bankless DAO until Bankless rugged the brand, as happens in this space. Rugs abound, and so we had to come up with a new DAO name. I think you probably know that I've been working on this Black Flag brand on Warpcast. If you haven't seen it, into the Black Flag space, and what they are using now, the new membership structure, a little bit of alpha. I probably shouldn't be giving it away, but the same mechanism that I'm using to fund in real life events, they're going to be using to have DAO members. So basically, members will deposit USDC into a pool together pool. And instead of normally pool together works, it's a lottery. They're not supposed to say lottery, but essentially it's a lottery. Like everyone pools together their funds, and then randomly some people are picked to get the yield from those funds. Instead, the yield is going to go to the DAO, and they're going to use that to like run things, and then the members can put in or take out their funds permissionlessly. So pretty cool. It's a mechanism I worked on as well, which is pretty fun. So I think it's going to be starting in about 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, come on down.
Nice. I like the mechanism. I've always thought like it's kind of a shame that people only like earn yield for themselves when you can just. And it's like probably an easier ask to ask somebody, hey, you can lock your ETH and the yield in part is going to like a good cause or something. It's easier than asking for money straight up.
Yeah, like that's what they're doing in some. I mean, so we're doing it, I guess, like in the Black Flag Collective, we're doing it to fund in real life events, and then Glow Dollar does it. Like I don't know if you know USD Glow. It's like a token. It's a stable coin, and you can, if you hold it, basically they are taking the yield from those fiat funds that they have deposited, and they're giving those out to public goods. And then there's a bunch of other groups doing this, including Octant and stuff as well. So I do think that there is some appetite to do that. And maybe the next wave of DAOs will be more likely to do that, because I do think like the permissionless nature of like putting in your, like donating your yield on a monthly basis is more sustainable than something like, hey, I'm going to pay like a $20 kind of monthly a $20 kind of monthly fee to be part of this DAO. I feel like donating your yield is an easier easier sell.
Definitely.
All right, so Marv P has episode 3 of his podcast, which is this the new internet? And it's all about the new internet economy. So far he's talked to Samantha at Humankind. He's talked to Wanderloots at who's doing these YouTube videos and also making money on YouTube. And this one I haven't listened to yet, but it is Lisan Al Gaib, also someone from Toronto. So yeah, I mean, you can count this as another shill. I'm shilling for Marv, but it is an interesting podcast, and he's got a nice podcast voice. So check it out if I were you.
So it's like Toronto, sponsored by Toronto, the show today.
So yeah, it's sponsored by.
Yeah, we're still in Canada.
Exactly.
If you want to escape the US these days, come to Canada. No.
You better get your shills in now before the tariffs kick in, because then otherwise no one's gonna have
access to
Canadian
order
content
fast
anymore.
now. Order all your Humankind kindles now if you are in the US.
So crypto will not be affected. Anyone who's accepting crypto payments will not be affected by these tariffs, or we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see until Trump finds out crypto can go up.
All right, so yeah. I am increasing the price of Toronto in that certain person who's looking to buy Canada by shilling right here, right now. There you go.
Yeah, it's valuable real estate. It's in a bonding curve. More bidders, more expensive.
Exactly.
Okay.
If we can get Brazil or India to join on the bidding, we should end up pretty good. All right, this one from Ted. I actually posted this because I thought you would like it, Naomi. So this one, have you seen this one, Naomi?
Nice.
Yeah, so the Met launched a art connections game, and it's kind of like similar to like connections game on New York Times, except it's like with art. So pretty interesting. And also they're using Privy. So not bad. You get an NFT, like so you do the linked game, and then you get an NFT if you complete it, which I think is pretty cool. And they have a new game every day.
Oh, yeah, I see. Well, we should do that. Let's see who can have a streak of NFT.
I tried it last night. It was pretty. I mean, I'll be honest. It's not a
Advanced.
fun game. It's not a very
Oh,
fun game for me. But
uh,
there was a lot of interesting. The reason why it wasn't fun was because the link yesterday was all mediums. So it was just like, what is the link between these two
uh,
paintings? Like iron, and it's just like, oh, boring. But
oh, I see.
links, yeah.
Uh,
So like they had like,
okay.
oh, Van Gogh painted these two paintings, or these two paintings were both done like by impressionists or something like that. So they do have
Yeah.
like, other kinds of links.
Okay, I'll check it out. See if I can get an NFT.
All right. So this was interesting to me, and you can see I replied, "Don't tease me, bro," because W here, Will from Splits, has kind of giving some alpha on this. He says the day Wallet Connect dies is the day we get good UX. Hopefully, that's from Samuel Huber, and then Will said something like soon, and then he talks about L2s plus Plaskeys plus Web Connect. So does that mean that Splits is working on something to replace Wallet Connect? I mean, I would love
Um,
it, but I don't really see how it's technically possible yet, even with his just small
yeah,
description.
I don't know. I just know everybody hates Wallet Connect, so it's kind of and it's funny. We're just like okay with hating Wallet Connect for all these years. Nobody fixes it. So I
That's
mean,
true.
it's about time, but will it happen? Soon we will find out.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because it's the
Yeah,
best option that we have. Like the alternative of nothing is worse, right? But
that's true.
because it's like difficult to use because just the way that the standard is set up and the way they have to set it up and the technical solution itself is kind of difficult. Yeah, it's kind of a shitty experience, and in fact, you probably wouldn't be able to get away with that experience for like a full consumer app, right? And it's why a lot of like apps that have had consumer success, they typically have embedded wallets in them, so that you don't have to deal with that
Yeah,
kind of wallet connect shenanigans.
sure.
Anyways,
Well, we'll see. If
if
they
Splits
fix
is
it,
able
I
to fix
think
it,
everybody's gonna love them.
yeah, I already like them. I already like what they're doing, and if they do something about Wallet Connect, I'll be pretty bullish. Splits. I'm already pretty bullish. I mean, they recently hired Matthew of Events.xyz fame, so we'll see.
Ah, okay. Up only now.
Exactly. Now at
Ah,
this point, it's up only.
up only if they hire Matthew. He knows how to bake bread, I think.
Matthew does. I'm actually learning to
Oh,
bake
maybe.
bread tomorrow. We'll see.
Ah, nice. Okay, now we're talking Vitalik. Recently
Yes.
become Milady.
Yes. So Vitalik is in his wartime ETH arc, and he's rocking a
Yeah.
Milady. So he talks about here about the risk of political coins. Basically, the fact that they're a perfect bribery vehicle. That's those are his exact words. Because Trump, he can release a Trump coin, and then people can make that value go up. He's holding 80% of the coin. People can make it a market cap of 26 billion. Hey, you know what? TikTok can buy a bunch of those coins if they wanted to pay Donald Trump without paying Donald Trump, and the
Mhm.
deniability and the obfuscation of that could be pretty, let's say, detrimental to our politics. Now, I mean, it's no, it's already like in the United States, you're already allowed to donate unlimited amounts of money to political PACs, right? And so
Yeah.
money's in politics already, and that's been since like Citizens United. I feel like 15 years ago. So yeah, there's like some sort of yeah, let's just say that there's adding tokens to this just means that there's more avenues for money in politics and more avenues to kind of obfuscate where that money's coming from. Although PACs are already doing it quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I still don't understand why they had an inauguration fund. Like, I'm totally lost when it comes to American politics and money. I'm like, how is this legal? But yeah, it is. And now, anyway, crime is legal. So
Yeah, crime is
yeah.
legal.
Do
It's fun
whatever you want.
because
But go to
yes,
the US to do whatever you want. Don't do it like wherever if you live outside.
yeah, in the US, yeah, actually. So I remember when I traveled from France to the US, I was staying in France for three months, and I traveled to the US West Coast. And the difference in the culture to me could be summed up with this. In France, you're allowed to be poor, but you cannot be fat. That's frowned upon. But in the US, you're allowed to be fat, but you can't be poor. That's looked down upon, right? So that's just the difference in the culture.
The same in Asia. If you're fat, you're just going to get bullied until you're sad enough to lose weight.
There you go. So the U.S. has some in touch with Asia. This was one of the links that you put in, right?
Yeah, I figured we should put a meme because it's Friday.
That makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's basically just a bell curve meme, but they added another bell curve for the people who might not see it. So on the very left side, there's one of those Wojak that's trying to put a cube into like the wrong hole. Like these games, you give a baby to learn different shapes, right? And all of them say Farcaster is good for Ethereum, which I think,
No, except for this guy. This guy's bad. This guy's stuck in the
the stupid guy is saying Farcaster is bad, but everybody else agrees it's good. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Is Farcaster good for Ethereum? I mean, I think all of the apps that are working and at people and attention are good for Ethereum. So I don't know why people would even say that.
Yeah, I think like there was this like someone in the past saying like, oh, those people should be in the trenches here on Twitter and they shouldn't be on Farcaster. Like we're losing attention for ETH the token. And it's just like, yeah, because people are just quietly building good shit. And I think that's not a bad thing, right? Like there's a protocol that actually creates adoption for blockchain under the hood and exposes people to potential blockchain tools and use cases that they'll like. Of course, that's good, not just for Ethereum, but for the entire blockchain space.
Yeah, I guess this. Some people were saying it's like its own bubble, but I mean, every social network is its own bubble. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the last link. Do you have any other links?
No, I have no more links. You're the guy with the links.
Well, so they call me links, and not just because I like to golf.
No, actually in German, links means left.
Does it? Not because I like to go left.
It's like rechts und links.
I'm not an ambi-turner. I can only turn left. I'm not an ambi-turner.
Only left.
So how do you think that this takeover went, Naomi?
I don't know. I think we did pretty well. We forgot to get like billion-dollar sponsorship deals. But hey, who should we show? Splits, if you want to sponsor GMFC, please do it. Especially after you fix Wallet Connect. But even without fixing Wallet Connect. I mean.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we take money. Seriously. Actually, that was a tagline
take
from...
money. You can also send it to my ENS. It's one of the reasons I have one. No.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you saw it, but on Twitter, there was the one of these big Erics. He dropped his ENS. He was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, and he says like, I'm moving all of my money to Base. I'm done with Ethereum. I'm moving my money to Base.
That was hilarious because then Eric Wall, he was like, hey, look, I found a new ENS. Who's like the famous Bitcoiner guy. So we need those people also on FC to do their jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah. May they join us. But yeah, I think we did all right. Let's see if they let us back on eventually.
I was aiming to like burn the bridge, right? Like I was aiming to
chill
so much and just not do the same kind of job, and so that we could just see like
your QR code for phishing scam.
See, and that requires advanced preparation, which I did not do. Anyways, this has been the takeover episode of GM Farcaster. Thank you very much to everyone who's been here. Thank you so much to Prof and Adrian for giving us your platform to shill all of our friends in Toronto. Thank you very much, of course, to you, Naomi, for co-hosting with me.
Yeah. But look, I also have oh gosh, you can't see it, Kiwi ring. I wanted to show Kiwi, but it doesn't work. I canceled it out. But it has lights on it, so it changes colors. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We will see you again. I think we will be back in the chat next time.
Yes. If you don't see us on the screen, we'll be in the chat.
We'll be demoted to the chat again.
Yes, exactly. Are you going to say bye-bye or should I say bye-bye?
You should say bye-bye because you did all of the hard work. I was just along for the ride.
All right. Well, I don't agree with that, but I do want to say bye-bye. So, bye-bye.